Well, from defamation in the media, that's what we were discussing earlier on, and the Armed Forces Special Powers Act in Jammu and Kashmir, let's move on to the crisis at Kingfisher Airlines. Can Kingfisher, now heavily under debt, ever be able to fly out of the mess that it's in presently? Last week, the airline cancelled 200 flights, triggering fears that bankruptcy was just around the corner. Well, joining us now as Kingfisher discusses its results, NDTV's Economic Affairs editor Shweta Rajpal Kohli. Shweta, what are these results?
Well, Vishnu, we are still waiting to get those quarterly numbers for the July to September quarter, as the Kingfisher board meeting is currently underway at this office that you can see right here behind me in Vile Parle in Mumbai. A very crucial board meeting, not just to discuss those quarterly numbers that are clearly going to reflect the financial mess that Kingfisher is in, but also to take some very, very tough and crucial decisions at a time when Kingfisher is on the verge of bankruptcy. What are the options before the debt-ridden, troubled airline? The main aim really at this board meeting is to bring down its debt from the current 7,000 crore rupees to at least half, Vishnu. Also, what's very, very critical for the airline is to look at ways of meeting its working capital. Right now, salaries are being delayed. The airline is unable to pay its fuel bills, and it is very critical for the airline to work out a financial restructuring package with the banks. The banks, however, on their part have given a very clear statement to Kingfisher saying that, well, if you do not have a viable business plan, we cannot help you beyond the point. Already we have seen a restructuring of loans taking place in March, and the banks clearly are not willing to take greater exposure to Kingfisher Airlines. We are expecting Vijay Mallya, in fact, to make some very crucial announcements at a press conference that he is likely to address here in Mumbai at noon tomorrow. Right. The results, as well as those tough decisions, will be announced at that crucial press meeting.
Okay,
back to you, Vishnu.
Shweta, thanks very much for joining us with that. Well, we're going to stick to this theme of the mess in the civil aviation sector. Just a few years back, Sahara Airlines was a familiar name in the Indian skies, one amongst a host of new private carriers like Jet, which would finally bring some competition to the Indian skies, offering passengers an alternative to Indian Airlines and Air India. But a few years back, Sahara, which ran into a host of troubles, decided that the aviation business was not right for them, and they sold out. The decision to do so saved them from the mess of the Indian aviation sector, where just about every airline, including Kingfisher, is now in the red, struggling to pay off enormous debts. A short while back, I was joined by Sahara Shri Subrata Roy Sahara, the chairman of the Sahara India Parivar. I began by asking him, in hindsight, sir, do you believe, are you relieved that you exited the aviation business at the time that you did? You must be a relieved man.
I think we did the right thing, yes. You see what had happened when we were three airlines. Once I was meeting the aviation minister then, and there was a talk that new airlines will be given the license. I requested him that, why don't you put all the responsibility on us, because we are not commercially doing well, and if there's a low-cost airlines you are interested in the interest of the country, we'll be doing that. Because I told him, there's no low-cost airlines in India. One should not talk about it. It's a low-priced airlines, not low-cost. It's low-priced. So he said, no, we have already decided, and we are going to give the licenses. I came down, there were two journalists, friends there. He asked me a question, what discussion was on. I said, we are now quitting airlines. But I took the decision right now, right then.
But when did you realize that being a private operator in India was untenable?
You see, whenever in any business, there is no proper study of demand and supply. I discussed this matter seriously with the government that time. That please, you just go through the last 10 years, the reports, and there should be perfect study of demand and supply. And whenever there's a mismatch of demand and supply, these things are out to happen. This is a big mistake, is done probably more in aviation I've seen throughout the world. It has been done, and it has happened in our country also.
Would you
so there should, I don't say that there should not be expansion, but there should be proper expansion. But there should be proper study behind it.
Would you agree that several private carriers in India, including your airline, Sahara Airlines, at one stage, entered the market with unrealistic expectations?
I really wonder, it is only with the airlines. Jokingly, I always tell everybody, it is probably like a romantic friend. So everybody jumps with the airlines with a lot of expectations. On the paper, all positive things they see, and they're very excited about the whole thing. They start with all the excitement. I really appreciate that. But probably they really do not study many things, which we also in the beginning, we had studied, but we were coping up with the problems and we were coming to the right track when we were 3 airlines. But the moment it expanded, I knew it. Our expectation will go all hayward.
But sir, if there is a shakedown happening in the Indian aviation sector, and that's what a lot of people are saying, which airlines do you think will survive? Will Kingfisher survive? Will some of the other airlines survive? Which airlines do you think are going to go under?
Believe me, I do not have any clue about it, because after I left our airlines, I know the people, I meet them, but I never discussed. But recently, just 2 days back, I was going through the newspaper. There were reports of all of the airlines. They are also having big losses. You see, in India, probably in the world also, some airlines, they survive in a different way, you know. Like if we order huge number of aircraft and we negotiate a good price. And then after a year or 2, the prices go up. So what airlines throughout the world they do, they lease it back. They give it to a leasing company, and the difference they get, and they run the airlines with that money. So this is a common practice. So these things, well, cannot work throughout. But these things, well, we have never practiced that. We are also advised this kind of a thing. We never enter into such practices. But otherwise, without these things, what I understand is very difficult to run the airlines, at least in our country. And that's happening. The growth is good, as I've heard. But as I said, many other factors, that supply, demand, so many such factors are to be taken care of.
Sahara, thank you very much for joining us. Subrata Roy Sahara there. He got out of the aviation business at just about the right time. Sahara is certainly afloat. Not sure a lot of the big airlines in the country will remain afloat, certainly not at the present rate. What's the solution? No one really knows. We're going to take a short break. Up after that,